how to help your toxic colleagues to change their behavior without coming across as a judgmental. One wants to work with someone who is all negative and makes other people uncomfortable. But it might be a little tricky to say something to a colleague without sounding like you're judging them. One of the most common advice given on dealing with toxic coworkers is to just ignore them. Well, let me tell you that this is the last thing that you want to do. No, really, it's actually the fifth and the final step. But there's other major steps that will come before that. The first step is to set boundaries with toxic coworkers. One of the most important principles of working with toxic colleagues is to set boundaries. That means explaining to them what actions and behaviors that are unacceptable. The best way to do this is to provide them with detailed feedbacks immediately at the time of the toxic behavior is apparent. Here are some examples of how to respond to rude and disrespect colleagues. Like, hey, please don't say something like that. Please don't talk to me like that. It is quite disrespectful. After all, it all has to depend on the details of the situation. We then explain that what you said or done is not okay with you. Of course, there's no guarantee that your wishes and views will be respected. Your toxic colleagues can continue to do as he or she pleases. They still can choose to be disrespectful and inappropriate to you and your coworkers because at the end of the day, they don't care about how you feel. But if your toxic coworkers don't respect the boundaries you set and continue to challenge you, you can move on to the next step. Step number 2 is indulge a direct conversation with the person. This suggestion may sound like the least acceptable move because it may place you in a compromising role. But most of the time, in circumstances like this, if you don't at least attempt to have a discussion, the chances of improvement are very less. At times, your coworker may not realize that the fact their behavior is bringing you down. In that case, it's fairly reasonable to tell them politely that they are making the workplace difficult for you and others to work. Being transparent is the key here. Step number 3 is record everything you do. You should save all emails and keep records of any conversation you have over the phone or in person. If you need to make a complaint, then you will have evidence to back your claims. It can also be used to defend yourself if someone tries to accuse you for not doing your job. Step number 4 is meditate and keep yourself calm. We can't control how people act, but we have 100% control over how we react to them. Meditating is the most effective way to stay calm, which is necessary when dealing and working with toxic people. Toxic people at work are major stressors that destroy a tranquil environment. You must be able to control your emotions under stress and pressure. Stay relaxed and calm when dealing with toxic people in the workplace. By practicing this, it not only makes a good impression of how calm you are in front of others, but it will put you off from your toxic colleagues' target list because it's just so hard to kill your vibe. Namaste. Like I said earlier, the final step is to ignore them. Let's get back to the most common advice, which is ignoring them. Well, you have tried all the steps earlier, but after you've done everything in your power to stop the toxic behavior, you can take a step back and see if your actions are making a difference. In the meantime, here is how to distance yourself from toxic coworkers. Number 1, don't talk to them. Number 2, block them on social networks. Number 3, pretend they don't exist. Do not reply their comments. Physically remove yourself with them. Don't interact with them outside of the work. Only interact with them when it's necessary and comes to work. Ignoring of normal workplace communication. Most importantly, you have to be strong and take the right step to rid your workplace of toxic behavior for the benefit of your well-adjusted colleagues and the prosperity of your company that you work for. Don't just let that one rotten apple to spoil your basket of fruits.